I am going somewhere tonight, Jamaica, because I think I should go there. And when I go there tonight, this section is called Make It Make Sense. What is this section called? Make It Make Sense. Make it wanna write it out? No. Me go have a simple, open, reasonable, you know, and I want to know, call on a neighbor, call on a friend and say, you know, Andre Stevens want to talk something, but him want a little bit more crowd to make it make sense, don't it? Me I go back in a history books tonight. I'm going back into the history books tonight. Remember I told you during the 1 o'clock program, I'm going to give you context into Clarendon murders. Listen to this as my preamble to make it make sense. Listen to this.
Clarendon, Jamaica's third largest parish behind St. Catherine and St. Anne, bears a bloody past dating back, like much of the country, to slavery. But after many years, it became a place of history and relative peace, later ruptured by criminal groups and gun runnings as select industries there dried up. Many resorted to violence over time, predominantly who, among other things, fell prey to mass killings, to include the popular Crawl incident in 2003. In that incident, police led by then SSP Renita Adams fatally wounded 4 youngsters during an operation in the area. Decades on, and the history of the parish remains stained by crime and violence, even with recent reductions. And what might have been near impossible for some was not for the gangsters and crime influences there, who secured at least 5 mass murders in the last 4 consecutive years. By mass murders, we mean the international definition of the killing of 3 or more people, and that is not legally justified or excusable in a single incident at a single location. That's a definition by the U.S. federal law. History recalls the slain. You'll see on screen Havana Heights, September 2021. Gunmen wreaked havoc, killing 4 people. That tragedy orphaned a young boy around 3 or 4 years old at that time. And a year later, in Cocoa Peace, June 2022, Rashane Barnett reportedly single-handedly cut down a mother and her 4 children, who ironically were his relatives. He's now serving 5 life sentences after his speedy detention and charge. But not even that could deter the criminals who in June 2023 shot and killed 3 people in the Grantham area of Havana Heights at a shop. And that incident was believed to be an act of reprisal following the killing of a farmer back in 2022. And the mass murders didn't end there. Gangsters on October 5 that same year would create another bloodbath, this time in Summerfield, just outside a lounge and grill where 4 men were shot and killed sometime after 1 in the morning. And then Jamaicans were jolted by the news of one of its largest mass murder incidents yet, when gunmen violently shook Cherry Tree Lane 4 paths with a nightmarish attack Sunday night on 2 gatherings, leaving 9 dead, or reportedly at least 8, and 9 others hospitalized. So is there a trend on the rise? What's triggering the bloodlust? And what will it take for it to end? We'll of course have our experts responding to this, not just tonight, but later on in the newscast this week.
TVM News at 7 will continue after this break.
Make it make sense, Jamaica. Then I heard the government, or not the government, I heard the head of the government in an argument yesterday that had Jamaica continue to use the enhanced security measures, that's what he said, you know, the likelihood of the crime wouldn't have happened. I'm going to say it again. Make it make sense. The government is arguing that had they continued with states of public emergencies, had they continued with zones of special operation, the likelihood of the crime would be less or not possible at all. And I said to myself, make it make sense, Courtney. You know, want to hear my line of reasoning now? If you want to hear my line of reasoning, here's what I am saying. Up to last week, wasn't this the government who was saying that crime was down by 17%?
Definitely.
This was the government up to last week who said to the nation that crime was down by 17%. The man said crime was down up to last week by 17%. But I said it to one of my very good colleagues today, and the person said, no, so he's a damn smart boy. Crime down by 17%. Well, they're saying the figures are there. I can't contest them on it. Leave it at that. But the years in which crime was up, Courtney, Jamaica, YouTube, TikTok. The year of the 1500, the year of the 1400, the year of the 1350. There were the years that we had state of emergencies employed. Want to see where I'm going with the argument? The year Jamaica, last year is 1500, the year before is 1450, the year before is 1300. All of those years, you know, all of those years, your government said they needed to use states of emergencies and zones of special operation to curb crime. But all of those years, the crime was high. But the 1 year that the state of emergencies were not being used is the 1 year that the crime is down. And up to last week, you were boasting that the crime is down. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, Mr. Prime Minister. So your argument is if you did have the Zozo and the SOE, the crime wouldn't have happened. But in the time that the zone of special operation and the SOE was never implemented is the year that we had the least crime thus far. So your rationality and your reasoning ability is flawed, Prime Minister. So it has nothing to do with the zones of special operation. It has nothing. Actually, the zone of special operation and the SOEs doesn't solve crime. Am I saying it, Courtney? Because you had the zones of special operation. You had the state of emergencies. And crime wasn't down. And the moment we never had it is when the crime came down. Then your argument is if we didn't have it. Make it make sense now. Are me fool, are me dunce? Can't look like me fool, are me dunce? Are me is a mad. Yes, me certified, me legally mad. But Jamaican people, I will sound like back at the class without no subject.
Fully done.
Who for argument sound like he fully done? Do you remember in Westmoreland, the tri-state over this, Westmoreland and over St. James? They had the state of emergency and crime went up about 38%. But, make we go further tonight.
Which road you go?
Where must I go? Producer, the last link where I send you. Play it for me now, please.
Prior to forming government in 2016, Andrew Holness and the JLP promised Jamaicans a safer country. But over 4 years later, his critics say he has not delivered. A frequent complaint from the opposition PNP is what they say is the absence of a credible crime plan. On Thursday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness went on the offensive.
Where is the crime plan? Where is the crime plan? Oh, asking for a crime plan. And again, it is this very narrow focus without much deeper analysis of the issue. That Jamaica has had 20 crime plans before. What Jamaica has not had is a national security plan. And what we have done as a government is to create Plan Secure Jamaica. That includes a plan to deal with crime, a plan to equip the police, a plan to equip the JDF, a plan to build out our national intelligence architecture, a plan to secure our borders.
Plan Secure Jamaica includes states of emergency SOEs. Close to 10 police divisions have been placed under SOEs at different times over the last 2 years, leading to concerns that this security method has lost its effectiveness because the shock and awe value has diminished. But not so, says the Prime Minister. He says SOEs remain a short-term measure and they are working.
The SOE. I carried back context for you tonight, you know. I carried back context for you all tonight because Jamaica must recall. The man said, plan, we don't need a crime plan, we need a national security plan. And the man has defended the use of SOEs and zones of special operation. But I want Jamaica to be made aware that the time in which we have had no states of emergencies, the said government has seen a reduction of crime by 17%. So it simply means that the crime plan or the state of emergency was never a workable solution. It means that the zones of special operations were never a success. Am I making sense, Jamaica? Or if my reasoning not making any sense, you can tell me to shut up. But he says it is effective. But the year in which it has not been used is the most successive year thus far. So unless it's blind Bartimaeus, can look like it's blind Bartimaeus in Jamaica. Look like it's blind Bartimaeus leaning us in Jamaica. You hear what I'm saying? It is effective. You hear what I'm saying? It is working. You hear what I'm saying? You don't need a crime plan. You need a national security plan. Plan Secure Jamaica. What is the status, Prime Minister Holness, on Plan Security Jamaica? Can you tell Jamaican people what is the status of Plan Security Jamaica? I am going deep. I am going beyond the surface of the road. Me I go at the fourth layer of the road. So I am asking Jamaican people who are reasoning with me tonight. If it is that you say it is working, how is it that the year that you never have it work or couldn't implement it because, you know, you must be happy for the Jamaican court system.
Why?
Why I must be happy? The only reason why Jamaican people, the SOE is not implemented is because the court says it is illegal, you know. People of Jamaica, are you aware the only reason why the SOE not working right now or not implemented is because the court tell him that he can't do anymore? So if the court never rule, if Chief Justice never rule and said can't continue, oh Lord, hallelujah, Uno would have been under state of emergencies, you know. Well, a lot of pitting them would have locked up for months illegally, you know. And when I talk, people say, it's 88. The man is not 80. I think one of the greatest blessings is when God take me from around him. I think once I was blind, but now I can see. It's a paramilitary state the man was building. So if the Chief Justice never reign, Justice Sykes, I make him know said can't continue. We would have had it. So the argument which you come with, Prime Minister Holness, to say that the continuation of some security measures have risen to gang prevalence is foolishness. Absurd. Foolish argument. Illogical argument. I'm sorry that mayor couldn't have a debate. At them something Mark Golding for fire back with him, you know. And say, but Prime Minister Holness, let's go back in history. The year in which the state of emergency was not implemented has been the most successful year for the JCF. So your argument about state of emergencies being effective is null and void. The statistics have proven it. Back at the class without no subject. But then what did you say about people being... Play the next video. Play the next video now. Just play the next video I'm saying last. Just play the next video there for me, please.
A minister of government is a servant of all the people, regardless of who elected them. A minister of government protects the national interest of the country.
So if you're protecting the national interest of the country, you would actually know what works and what don't work. Or unless, you know, they have always said that men are rational thinkers. So if you're presented with the facts, Holness, and the facts suggest that there is no evidence to purport your argument that state of emergencies has brought down crime. You know what I would have agreed with, Prime Minister? If in fact, when there were states of emergencies ensued in the past, we had seen a drastic reduction in crime, but we have never seen it. So if we have never seen it, why then come to, or unless, you know, you remind me of some of these YouTubers. You know what I mean by you remind me of some of these YouTubers? You talk just to get clickbaits, you know. You talk just to get clickbaits, you know. Producer sending something again, because are going back in the history books. Do you recall the man saying to you, all people of Jamaica, when he's in power? I want to remind, because I was on the campaign with him, you know. You'll be able to sleep with your windows and your doors open. But a lot of people don't like when I talk the truth and the facts, you know. You talk just to get, all right. Even yesterday when him said, take away yourself. It's a clickbait him and look, you know. It's sensationalism him looking in a Courtney and people of Jamaica.
Clark's now work and him now work again. Rather now work.
And when you talk, people says it. It's not it we hate you. We're tired of the nonsense that you... Sometimes it's better you shut your mouth. Shut up! Yes, Jamaica. This man, I just want you all to remember the things he says, you know. Better he shuts it. Look at this video now. And me I go back in a history. Wouldn't know. Listen to what the man.
If you want to live safe in your yard, if you want to be able to fall asleep and let the door open, and wake up in the morning and still be alive, you cannot make the mistake of putting in the game.
So the Labour Party makes another commitment to you. Unlike the PNP, who say nothing can be done about crime, the Labour Party don't share that view. We believe that there is a lot that we can do to solve crime in this country. There is a lot that we can do to bring down murders in this country. There is a lot that we can do to make you safer in your house and in public.
I want to, you see, in context of what we spoke about just now, there is a lot that you can do. There is a lot that you have not done. There is a lot that you have not done. And over 8 years, have you remembered that under your leadership and Horace Chan, almost 12,000 Jamaicans were killed? Do you recall that? That under your leadership of yourself, Horace Chan and Bobby Montague, almost 12,000 Jamaicans were killed. What more could you have done? Under your leadership, 10,000 Jamaicans were killed by violence. So what more could you have done? State of emergencies. Wow. The state of emergencies that have proven not to be effective. So what is it that you have done this year that you never did last year? Why there's a 17% reduction in crime? Tell us. I would want to know, what did you do different this year than last year to have seen a 17% reduction? Or is it a case that there is really no reduction? Is it a case, Jamaica, that there's really no reduction? But you create a narrative that a reduction has happened. But there is a reason why you better off than people. You were able to build a mansion to secure yourself from the criminals. Many of us don't have those mansions. Many of us have zinc and sun roof. Claudette Stewart, if I'm negative against him, you can go. You can go, Claudette Stewart. But the point is, as a servant of the people, as he said he is, it is the duty as a servant of the people to protect us. It's the duty to protect. Think about it, Jamaica. A 7-year-old child a 7-year-old child. A 7-year-old child. An 18-month-old baby. A casualty of war. A casualty of crime. A casualty of terror. And as much as I'm beating him, and as much as I am talking people, you know why I'm saying these things? Stop skewing, stop spewing arguments that don't make any sense. And I'm going to call you out when the argument don't make any sense. And the argument in fact and in truth makes no sense. So he's skewing the narrative. So I want Mark Golding and the opposition to stand up when he sits in the parliament next week and say, no, it's not going to be supported. What I talk about the local economy, it is called the orange economy. The small man on the street who have to make that income in the night to send the 7-year-old who was killed to school the next morning. Remember JPS mess up the entire country, you know? Remember JPS mash up people business, you know? Ravish the small income earners, you know? And rather than him deal with JPS business, him come telling you already, him plan. But I told you last night, he has plans, Jamaica, to implement the SOEs again. And people say, no, him not go do it. But I've sat at his feet for years, so I know how he thinks. I know how he thinks, Jamaica. I know him saying now that little. Imagine somebody send him all this link now and him watching me. Every time him hear my voice, is like him I think about what can I do to silence this boy?
Little brat.
This mad boy, what can I do to silence? You know what you can do? Leave the office of the Prime Minister.
Resign.
Left man. Left man. Have a Biden moment.